Hi guys, this is Kai from World Class Card Fighters, and today we'll be talking about post BT04 Murakumo. Told you guys we'll make a deck profile for this deck, so here we go. I'll start with the new cards. I'll tell you what they do because they're in Japanese. Then I'll tell you why I built my deck this way, and then I'll tell you how to upgrade your deck from the old deck. Alright, so let's get started. Right off the bat, we'll start with the grade 3s. First card is one of the strongest cards in the new set. It's Shiryuki. Full name is Fantasy Petal Storm Shiryuki. The effect is that when it's placed on Vanguard, Rearguard, or Guardian Circle, you can Soul Blast 2 and pick 3 of your opponent's units and they get minus 5k. Now, if you put it on the Vanguard or the Guardian Circle, those units get minus 10k instead. And then the second effect is that when this card's attack does not hit, you may get a copy of itself from your drop zone and put it into your hand. Nice plussing effect, very good. The second grade 3 is Dueling Dragon King Zangeki. The first effect is continuous, and it's if you have a left arrestor on the field, it gets 5k, and if it has a right arrestor on the field, it gets +1 critical. And the second effect is that if you have a Dueling Dragon in your soul, your opponent cannot guard with anything other than grade 0s. So no protect markers, nothing, only grade 0s. Alright, now the good thing about the first effect is that it's continuous. So on your opponent's turn, if you have a left arrestor, you get plus 5k. So that's really nice defensively. Onto the grade 2s, we have Stealth Fiend Jikotsu Girl. Now her effect is on the rear guard. When this card's attack does not hit, you may look at the top 7 cards of your deck and choose up to 2 Shiryukis and reveal them. And you may put one of them into your hand and one of them into your drop zone. Now, if you don't reveal any Shiryukis, you can then just soul charge 1. Alright? So, very nice. It has a multi-purpose use. This one is Jamming Impeder. When this card boosts the Vanguard in the attack, after the Vanguard attack, you may Soul Blast 1 and look at the top 5 cards of your deck and pick up to 1 left or right arrestor and put it into your hand. And the last new card is Stealth Fiend Rainy Madam. When one of your units' attack does not hit, you may put this card into your soul and then pick a Shiryuki from your drop zone and put it into your hand. So those are the only new cards in the deck. Let's talk about how the deck functions, alright? Now, with this deck, it has the old engine. It's got the Zanbaku engine from before, and now it's got a Shiryuki engine, right? So both of these engines alone, they all have their own deck. They all have their own deck when it comes into BT04. You have Zangeki, so you have your Dueling Dragon deck, and then you've got Shiryuki, the new stuff, and all the new stuff kind of helps it out, and if you just want to build a Shiryuki deck, you can. Very cheap, but I've decided to combine both of them together because I really like Zanbaku's gimmick where it stops your opponent from riding, and then when you want a finisher, you don't need to go to Zangeki. Alright, you can just go straight to Shiryuki. She's a perfectly fine finisher. In fact, I think she's stronger. You get an Excel. This deck generates Excel markers, and you get to minus your opponent's Vanguard. Very strong effect. If you play like 2 of them in one turn, you're like minusing 15, and your opponent just goes to like minus 2k or minus 3k power. And then with the amount of like attacks you have, just based on Excel circles, like even one trigger, they get 1 trigger. That's not enough. That's not enough. So, how the deck plays, you generally just want to go to Zanbaku first. Before, when you stun your opponent and do the full lock, like strong players might just deny you damage to get that 1 ride and try to kill you on that ride. Something like Cecilia or like even Imperial Daughter trying to get that deer, those kind of turns might kill you before, but now when they deny you, you actually just don't care, alright? You can go straight into Shiryuki when you just got damage denied and just keep on putting on the pressure. Now, all these other cards, like the Jikotsu Girl and the Rainy Madam, they all help you get your Shiryukis, but they also help your Zanbakus. Because before you'd also have this dilemma where if you want to keep on using Zanbaku's effect, you don't really want to use left arrestor as much because you're going to run out of soul unless you can keep on riding more Zanbakus, right? But now because of these 2 cards, you can soul charge and just gain soul. So you're more free to use your soul. Furthermore, these cards will search your win condition out, which is this, and just playing 1 or 2 copies in one turn usually can totally seal a game, especially after you stun them, all right? So you stun them, they deny you that counter blast, you can't ride lock them anymore, and then you just play Shiryuki and destroy them, all right? With these other cards, with Zangeki, the reason I'm only playing 1 now, because I told you guys before you might want to run 2 or 3. This deck, I want to run everything else, all right? I really want to run everything else. It's just a deck space issue, all right? I want to run 4 Shiryukis, and I want to run 4 Zanbakus. I actually don't mind if I ride a Shiryuki first, because she has that second effect, and to be honest, you ride her, you minus 10k, you can still put on that pressure from early on, all right? Zangeki, not so much. It can technically slow the game down. If I ride it first, and then like I put a left arrestor down, that's a nice way to slow the game down. Or if I just play a right arrestor, I can get a crit and put on that crit pressure. But generally, I don't really care about riding that. And if I wanted a finisher, I have a perfectly fine finisher that has like multi-uses in Shiryuki. With these other cards, when it comes down to space, if I wanted to put down like a second Zangeki as well, I need to either take out a Jakotsu Girl, because I can't really take any of the arrestors out. Or I need to take out one of these cards. And to be honest, I don't want to go lower than 12 grade 1s for my deck, just because it feels bad. Like running 11 just feels like it's not a great ratio. I never want to just like have my opening hand of like no grade 1s, because that's usually a death sentence. So I chose to just stay with 12-12 and just cut down on that extra grade 3. It's really up to you what you want to take out for that extra grade 3, because yeah, you can. There are choices here to take out, but that just comes down to your preference, all right? And then lastly, the trigger lineup is the same as before. I think 6 crit, 6 draw works fine. So I've just kept it at that. The good thing about this engine as well, you can put on that early pressure. The jamming impeder can search out your arrestors if you don't have one set up already. And because you have these other cards that now generate soul, it's not that bad. You just still have to be a bit more careful when you use it, because you might run out of soul, but you do have your outs as well. And then with the Shiryukis, people kind of underestimate that a lot. It's very good on defense, but it's extremely good on offense. I mainly use Shiryuki for offense, all right? You ride a Shiryuki, you Soul Blast. Next turn, all you need is 1 more soul, because you ride, you gain a soul because you rode over something. If you have 1 more soul, you can do the effect again. So these is where these two come in. Really strong, all right? So now you see I've separated the old cards here, and the right cards are the new cards. Interesting enough, this deck is super cheap, all right? You look at the cards you need, all right? You need Zanbaku, that's VR, okay? You need this card, the Null Guard, that's a double R, and that's it. That's it, all you need from the old stuff, all right? Now, let's take a look at the new stuff. You need 4 triple Rs, all right? 4 triple R Shiryuki. You need 1 Zangeki, and that's it. That's it, all right? Zangeki is the only VR. Shiryuki triple R, that's going to be cheap, okay? That's going to be cheap. The rest is just Rs, all right? The rest is Rs and commons, all right? So overall, this deck is actually very easy to build, very cheap to buy. You shouldn't have any problems converting it from the old stuff. You just take away your old Mandala Lords that you don't really, those just kind of filler in. The biggest loss is probably Musashi, because that card was good, but it's not a card you always wanted to ride. So this deck is now way more consistent. People talk about how going first is such a huge advantage in Standard. It's true, but this deck can win going first, and the win rate is actually okay. All right, so don't feel bad, whatever you do. First or second, you can still win. You've got the tools, and because of the gimmicks Murakumo has, this deck is probably going to last a very long time, even after Bermuda comes out, and even after the set after that, where there's Royals and Link Joker, okay? So overall, Springfest, one of the strongest picks you could take for Standard. We'll be doing more standard deck lists for after doing testing for Miyagi very soon, and we'll also be doing the other decks that are very interesting from the V-BT04 set, the deleter set. Okay, so like and subscribe if you want to see more. Like and subscribe if you don't want to see more. And I'll see you at the next video.